Welcome to Kathakast, where the stories of Bharat come alive. Bharat is chartering its way to reclaim its glory of Vishwaguru. Becoming a Vishwaguru is considered as a national sentiment. There could be various reasons for this, such as our civilizational culture, our remarkable achievements during last 75 years, our intrinsic strength to offer something that global community so critically requires. Today, in this episode of Kathakast, let us hear and discover the subtle meaning of this phrase from the knowledge, learning and point of view of our Vakta Sachin Nandha. Episode 9 Bharat as a Vishwaguru. Friends, today is a Vakta special episode. In Vakta special episodes, we invite an external Vakta, means a speaker, to share thoughts on specific topics. The name of our today's Vakta is Dr. Sachin Nandha. He is a director and trustee of the International Centre for Sustainability in London. It is a think tank that works to bridge India and the West. He is also a trustee of Earth Charitable Foundation, a community endowment fund designed to support research and scholarship on Indic civilization. He has written a biography of the founder of Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh, Dr. Keshav Hedgewar. This biography is due to be published by a British publishing house called Penguin in February 2025. Dr. Sachinji has studied a PhD and lives in United Kingdom. Let us take this opportunity to listen to his thoughts on today's topic, Bharat as a Vishwaguru.
Bharat as a Vishwaguru. The fourth Sanjalak of the RSS, Rajendra G. Singh, in Bharat first popularized the term Vishwaguru in relation to Bharatiya culture. He was not necessarily referring to the modern state of India, but to a far more significant movement that has been ebbing and flowing for at least 5,000 years across the subcontinent and stretching as far as Indonesia, Cambodia, and up to Vietnam, loosely called the Hindu culture. Then in recent years, largely due to Narendra Modi adopting the phrase and co-opting it to mean something political, namely India as a global superpower and a net exporter of knowledge, the type of knowledge that the world not only seeks, but will look to India to provide it with. These are two very different ideas of Vishwaguru. Today, people use and abuse the phrase as it suits their agenda. I believe it's a shame. Today, the phrase is often taken by the naysayers as something bigoted, dominating, fanciful, ludicrous, and even frightful, in the sense of a totalitarian notion. Try typing in the phrase in Google and you will discover phrases such as cultural chauvinism and exclusivity being associated with it. There are many people who feel that the phrase is not helpful at all. Vishwaguru, they say, creates a false sense of superiority, takes into account a selective history, and even mythologizes Hindu culture, distracting people from the sad reality of modern India. And indeed, there are those who have co-opted this phrase and use it to project cultural or national superiority or supremacy. And this is unfortunate. When the Sangh uses this phrase, it means something altogether more subtle, much more nebulous, and something that acts much in the same way as a constellation of stars would do so for sailors using the night sky to navigate the oceans. The phrase Vishwaguru is the North Star, It ought to remind us of where true north lies and where we are presently in relation to it. It is a tool to help a society navigate towards its telos, or a destination that we desire to reach. It helps everybody who feels part of the Hindu civilization. What ought we be ultimately aiming for? It should nudge us back towards the right direction when we stray. And amongst all the confusion and paradox, it should help us reorientate, pivot towards where we really want to go. In this sense, the phrase Vishwaguru is a phrase that sets a universal goal for every Hindu, regardless of race, creed, or class. It was meant to be a phrase that succinctly sums up what kind of society each of us want to live in and contribute towards building it. It is nothing more or nothing less than this. The phrase Vishwaguru is a dense one. It deserves to be unpacked. Like a mantra or sutra, a bundle of words that within them contains a vast plethora of meaning and nuance. The word Vishwa means world in the most obvious sense, but it can also mean universal. This term, universal, in turn can mean global in a geographical sense or common to all things. It can be equally qualitative. The Sangh, when it uses this phrase, I believe, sets forth a universal interpretation for the vision of the world. It uses the term Vishwa in its universal sense, and something that equally applies to all beings, human and maybe even non-human. The word Guru is badly and lazily interpreted as teacher. This is not how the Sangh believes. A Sangh, I believe, uses the phrase. Guru means that weighty one. It can also mean the one who imparts knowledge, that is Vidya, that is Satya, aka truth. So the phrase Vishwaguru means the weighty one, the significant one, who imparts truth to the world. Now that we have deconstructed the phrase and intent, we can reassemble the phrase Bharat as a Vishwaguru to mean something close to a weighty, significant culture that can pursue truth and help the world progress in all areas of existence, from ignorance towards knowledge. Bharat as a Vishwaguru, therefore, is a phrase that ought to trigger two powerful inner thoughts. 1. What is the kind of world we want to create for ourselves and for all beings, human and non-human? And number 2, where, who, and what am I as an individual in relation to this term? Let's take the first one. What is the kind of world the Sangh envisages when it talks about Bharat as a Vishwaguru? It naturally falls onto the deepest elements of Bharatiya culture, namely, heat, maximum benefit to all beings, that all things are ultimately one. The world is integrated, it is interconnected. One's happiness and flourishing is ultimately connected to the happiness and flourishing of my community and the beings around me, human and the non-human. Number 2, ahimsa, the act of minimum harm. Every act in this world will create a repercussion and will harm something, someone at some point. To live with a consciousness fusing the first point, that all things are interconnected. Therefore, one ought to live together, causing minimal harm to all beings, human and non-human. And the third, compassion. If all things are interconnected, then there is no other. All are mine. And here comes that overused phrase, Vasudeva Kutumbakam. The world is one family, because all are ultimately mine. This third point is directly opposite to where the world of social media and the general political discourse is taking us. There are no tribes. There are no bad guys out there. There are no evildoers who I must vanquish. Instead, whatever is out there is also mine, and I need to improve it. I need to work towards solving the problems that arise before me. The world of the Sangh is a universalist one, and therefore the idea of cultural chauvinism can be put aside. It is a project that all people, regardless of race, creed, and class can partake in. It is not an Indian or a narrowly defined Hindu project to, inverted commas, teach everyone what is the right way of living. There is no notion of creating a Hindu Sharia, a Hindu code that everyone must submit to. This would be to strawmanning the entire concept. Rather, the world is one where human and non-human life can live in a harmony. One where ecology and material progress are balanced through cultivating human temperance. A culture that is essentially plural, diverse, and gives room for all types of tastes and expressions. A culture where knowledge and fact-finding are respected and aspired for. A culture where knowledge is the supreme aim for a society. A culture where the individual is front and center, both in terms of self-pursuit, but also self-mastery. The most important element of the phrase, as used by the fourth Sanchalak, I believe, was to create a mirror for Swayamsevaks to reflect on themselves. If the idea is to create a world like the one I have described, then what role does the individual Swayamsevak have to play? And to play that role, what are the characteristics one must demonstrate and live by to make some headway towards the desired end? Here the phrase is nothing more than something to help us shine a light upon ourselves. The Swayamsevak, first and foremost, is asked to cultivate a leadership that exudes a kindness for his fellow human being, and then to reflect on their relationship with non-human beings, plants, trees, insects, dogs and cats, and the wildest of all animals. It is not a call to care for cows alone. It is a call to be kind to all life on this planet. Then where does one stand in terms of one's own capability to make a difference and nudge their world in the right direction? By capability, the Sangh means two distinct things. One is skills, the ability to actually make things happen in the real world. And two, character, the engraved mark, one's natural behavior patterns. Once a Swayamsevak has these two elements, one is said to be capable. When skills and character combine, one is capable to make a difference. When a Swayamsevak asks herself, what is the kind of difference I ought to make in the world? The phrase, Bharat as a Vishwaguru, ought to emerge as one's guiding light. Act in a manner that will inspire you to transcend your fears and limitations and rise towards behaving in a manner that brings about maximum benefit to others, causes minimum harm to others and yourself, and always act from a position of compassion. This, I believe, will aid us somewhat in understanding the phrase Bharat as a Vishwaguru. Namaste.
In today's episode, we learned that the phrase Bharat as a Vishwaguru might be used in different contexts. Those could be political, philosophical, or spiritual. But it sets a universal goal for every Hindu. Regardless of caste, race, and creed, it creates a culture that the world is one, where we all live with harmony. We can spread this universal culture of togetherness, where we think good of both humans and non-humans. Today we unlearned the background and responsibility that every individual Bharatiya holds towards this goal. Our Vakta Sachin Nandha's book on the biography of Dr. Keshav Baliram Hedgewar is to be published in February 2025. Dr. Keshav Baliram Hedgewar is the founder of RSS. This book is a must-read to have an expanded knowledge on this topic. Kathacast takes you on a journey of understanding Bharat, Dharma and Sanatan values through Katha, that is stories, Itihasa, that is history, Utsav, that is festivals, and Bauddhics, that is intellectuals. This podcast offers a nuanced perspective that empowers you to live life with a dharmic worldview. We hope you enjoy the content. Thanks for listening and see you in the next episode.